Hey everybody, I want to give you a few little tips that I'm working on this week. This is my homework. It could easily be yours, but I'm going to give you some things to think about nonetheless. So one of the things that I have to personally work on when I get a new bow is a couple things. I really have to start to learn my muscle memory of that draw force curve and how that cam feels. Because even though I've shot a levitate with the same cam, this bow has slightly different positions for the same draw length. So I'm actually in a different module position. So that breakover is a little bit different for me, and I have to get used to it, and I have to enjoy the feel of it, and I have to be very consistent on my back wall, right? Especially with a tension release like Silverback Plus. So I have to be the exact same on my back wall pressure so that when I let my safety off and I start my pull, my shot is going off consistently. If I'm different on my back wall each time, then when I let off the safety, I could be, if we're looking at an accelerator, whereas, a 9 out of 10 is when my shot's activating. If I'm like hard on that back wall and I'm sitting there right at 8, 8.5, almost 9 when I let off the safety, then it's going to go off fast, right? Likewise, if I draw back and I hit that wall and I get a little lax in there, a little lazy back there, then I might only kind of be, giving it a little bit of throttle, maybe at about 2, right? So then when I let off the safety, I've got to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is critical because learning your back wall consistency is absolutely directly related to accuracy. And that's one of the reasons why tension releases surprise people on how well, even if they feel like they're moving around, how their groups suck together. And the reason is because you're having to pull that same tension against that back wall to get it to shoot. Now, one of the things that I've been working on is on the PSEs, a lot of other models too, there's an adjustable let off right here. So I've actually moved mine from the easiest, some nice glasses, from the easiest, which would be that high let off, the highest let off, I've actually put it in the shorter slot. So what that means is it's not gonna let me be as lax back on that back wall. It's gonna be a little bit demanding, but not so demanding that it's either going forward or back and I have to be, giving that thing 8 out of 9 for gas in order to keep it back. So I made a small adjustment there and it's instantly helped me feel that a little better. Now, the other thing too is I'm really working on, and some of you who obviously love to critique me, thank you. When I first started setting this up and I wasn't sure yet which cam system I was gonna go with, some of the first cams, now granted, some of those prototype bows I was shooting were actually just under 80 pounds. They were prototype limbs too, so we hadn't dialed in the deflection numbers yet. So I was pulling back some high poundage bows and new cams. So it was kind of hard to understand where that breakover was and just how hard I dump into the back wall. You don't want to dump in so hard that you're just crushing this back wall and causing so much pressure up front that you have this torsional sway like that. So one of the things that's great is when you're practicing, get used to trying to draw the bow back smooth and really start to understand that power curve and about what point that breakover is starting to happen so that you're not just blasting through that and crushing the back end of your cam, because that's gonna hurt you on consistency. When you come in nice and smooth and you hit that wall, you can kind of pull on it a little bit. I call it checking in. I can check in a little bit, make sure I have that same feeling against the back wall. And like I said, I'm thinking of it as a tachometer. When I hit that back wall, I don't want to let off the back wall to where I'm down here on a 2. I actually want to hit that back wall and maybe give it just a little bit so I'm sitting around that 6. That way when I let off, I can pull 1, 2, 3, 4, and my shot's going off. That's ideal. So a couple things that I'm working on. Obviously, I told you about the cam module. The other thing I'm working on is just being able to raise the bow to the target and really just learn that power curve and come back smooth like that. And that was perfect right there. So that was, you know, getting that back wall, feeling it, stabilizing, letting my finger off the safety, pulling through my shot. Learning that back wall, so important, and learning your curve of that cam, and just shooting this a few extra days has really helped me. Gonna do one more right here. Just really pay attention to how I come into that wall. I stop. You might see me kind of check in a little bit and checking in with that tension. Again, I'm thinking of it like a manual transmission. I'm thinking of it like a clutch and like gas. This is my clutch. I don't want to dump the clutch to where we're popping a wheelie. And I don't want to be giving it so much gas that when I let off on the clutch, sounds like we're gonna blow the engine off this thing. I'm trying to make everybody in the car, everybody that's riding on this bow and this arrow have a smooth ride downrange. Come into that wall smooth, checked in. Pull through. That's what I'm working on. You should too.